Hello, this is a tutorial of how to use the RediNest retirement calculation tool. So your opening screen here allows you first to give a bit more details about the program. So you can stay where you are in your career. So probably planning for retirement, or if you're really close to retirement, early retirement. But if you're not actually in retirement, you would want to go with planning for retirement. Your financial knowledge, you can go with an average understanding. The more basic you go, the less questions this software asks. So I would recommend that you try and put as much detail as you can in it, because it will just be more accurate in approximating your retirement income. And you can also say, what investment history you've had. So just select the appropriate selection there. So next we'll see it'll ask what your marital status is, where you're located, and how old you are. So if you're if you're married, it'll also ask the age of your spouse. And if you're currently retired as well, then that will impact whether you're already taking income or not. So right now you can put your annual income in here and the annual income of your spouse. Then this is where it gets a little more complicated. So you have the pension income, and if you click here for details, it'll describe what a pension income is. What they mean by this is more of a defined benefit pension. Defined benefit pension is one where you are putting money in, and your statements that you receive tell you how much you will have guaranteed in retirement. So it creates an income for you in retirement. It's not simply an investment pool where you have money invested. That is a defined contribution plan. So a lot of people have defined contribution plans. The more traditional way that is kind of going out of fashion is that you have a defined benefit plan. So usually if you have one where it's guaranteeing you income once you retire, most people are aware of that, so hopefully you are, whether you have a defined pension plan or not. It may be that you do and your spouse does not, or that your spouse does and that you do, or it could very well mean that neither of you have a defined benefit pension plan. So let's say that you do in this example, and basically it's asking what your estimated monthly pension is. So where you would find that information out is through your pension plan. You'll receive statements from the pension plan, and every time you receive a statement, it will say at a certain age when you retire, this is what your estimated monthly pension will be. So some people's pensions will be indexed for inflation meaning that they'll automatically increase as life gets more expensive as time goes on. But some pensions are not indexed. So we'll just put in an estimated amount here. So next is where you give information about your government benefits. So this is an area that can vary for most people. So for OAS, old age security is a supplemental income that the federal government provides to everyone who is a permanent resident in Canada. The OAS is to receive 100% of the OAS, you know, you have to be here for at least 10 years living in Canada consistently before you start receiving it. So there's certain criteria you have to be aware of. In general, most people will receive it, so you would put yes. Canada pension as well. This is one where if you've been contributing to it for a long time, then you want to say yes. If you're relatively new to the country, then you may want to say no, because although you may get some CPP, it may not be very substantial. So what this software is assuming is that if you receive CPP, that you're receiving CPP mostly at the maximum amount. So, you know, again, this is a tool to approximate your income in retirement. So to keep it as easy as possible, you know, you just select yes or no. So for most people doing this, you're probably going to say yes to all of these. So assets. So this is your retirement savings assets. So types of retirement savings would be if you have an RRSP, so a registered retirement savings plan. Also a locked-in RSP, or a LIRA, which is locked-in retirement account. You also defined a deferred profit sharing plan, would also fall into this category. Basically, it's any income that, or it's any savings that once you take it out as income, you get charged tax on it. So there are a few that fall into this category. So for this tool, you would just lump in both what you and your spouse would have saved in those type of vehicles. It'll be a cash amount. If you're not aware of how much you have, you may have access to online statements or online tools that will tell you where your investments are at. But also you should, for these type of investments, probably receive a quarterly statement. So you probably have a statement that you received in the mail that will give you an approximate value of where you are at as of today with your savings. So and then it's also asking how much are you currently saving towards that every month. So you may not be currently saving anything, so that would be 0. If you are saving anything every month, then you'll want to input that. Next is the tax-free savings account, or any other savings that you have. So if you have money sitting in savings accounts or other non-registered investments, as we call it, or if you have money in a tax-free savings account, this is where you would want to put that. Not always, but very often a couple will probably have a very similar amount saved, especially when it comes to tax-free savings accounts. Often people split between their accounts. And then that's it. So this, based on the information, it will give you an approximate retirement income at age 65. And you can see over here that you have a monthly savings goal, so $1,250, so that's the money going to the registered savings and the other savings, like the tax-free savings account. And then this is assuming by default that you're going to retire at age 65, and it's giving you a 5% return. Now, 5% return based on how comfortable you are with investments and risk or not. It's you know, this is a fair rate of return. You know, it's good once you're at this screen just to kind of play with it. So, you know, see what a 4% rate of return does. You know, it almost drops $5,000 off your annual income. Another one to play with is, you know, perhaps you want to see if you can retire earlier than 65, right? So you can see what retiring at age 64 does to that. Well, it's a drop of just over $3,000. So what does 63? So you can see how this impacts on your income. And then when you are done playing with this, and you've kind of got the selection that you want, then you can click next, and then this is a lot where you will outline kind of some of your financial priorities. So you know, perhaps you want to do some retirement planning and minimize your income tax and maybe reduce some of your debt. You select which goals are most important to you. This gets incorporated into the downloadable report, and then you go next and it'll ask you to send your report. So you can sign in with various social media tools, and where it will pick up your email address, or you can simply put your email address here. You want to signify that you're not a robot, and you click continue. And since I've already sent myself a report, that's why I get this error message. But if you put in your email address here, then you'll receive that back. And then also, you're also able to come back to this link and edit what you've done in the past as well. So I hope this brief little tutorial has helped, and I strongly encourage you to take that first step, because it's really hard to confidently retire if you really don't have a grasp as to approximately what your income in retirement will be. So like I showed you, it takes very little time to do, and you know, you have a pretty good idea as to what your income in retirement will be. Thanks very much, and of course, if you have any questions or if there's any way I can help, please just reply to one of my emails. Thanks very much. Talk to you soon.